Do you feel shame all the fucking time and you can't get away from it and it's low-key controlling your life and you feel like you can't do anything ever because you're constantly guilty? Oh my gosh, me too. Let's work through it together. Hi, I'm Hannah. I just started this channel. I'm trying to work through my chaotic brain and my Mormon upbringing. And today we're talking about shame, specifically religious shame. And religious shame is different from guilt. And it's an important difference because it's a lot harder to work through shame. So let me define the variables real fast for you, okay? Religious guilt is... Sorry, I'm looking at my notes, okay? Don't even judge. Religious guilt is more of like, I did something bad and I feel bad for that. And shame is going a step further to, I am bad. Me as a person, as an individual, I am bad, okay? And I think shame starts off with guilt, like, oh, I just did something bad. And I don't feel like, okay, being guilty is not a bad thing. Like, if you freaking said something super rude to your friend, you should be like, yeah, damn, that was mean. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a terrible person just because you said that one thing, you know? So, guilt, I feel like, is generally healthy. Shame, not so much. So let's break this down further. I guess the first thing I had to ask myself when I was kind of breaking this down for me was, what does shame look like for me? Because obviously it's going to be different for everybody. But shame for me lately has been the fear that people are going to leave. The fear that I am not being my true self, or people don't see the true me even in moments that I am being myself. And definitely feelings of unworthiness and not belonging. And this isn't just something that happens occasionally, it's something that's like ruling my life. I struggle to make decisions, I struggle to make friendships, I struggle to feel comfortable in my friendships and my decisions. I struggle to feel comfortable in my own body because I'm Okay, anyways, I don't need to trauma dump on you, but you should ask, if you're watching this video, if you're one of like the 2 people that are going to watch this video, ask yourself, what is shame for me? Where does it come from? I guess also something I want to talk about is kind of more generally why we get shame from religion. It's, for me, I was super afraid when I grew up LDS that I wouldn't end up in the celestial kingdom and I wouldn't be doing enough things for God to be happy with me. Okay? So, I constantly felt left by God. I constantly felt like I couldn't be my true self in the LDS church. And I constantly felt like I didn't belong in the LDS church. And I was kind of fighting for something that didn't feel reachable, if that makes sense. There was a lot of promises that are made that didn't actually happen. So, for example, like, my former religion would be like, if you do this, God will do this for you. And so I do the thing, and then God wouldn't do the thing. And I was like, what the heck? And so my mindset was, oh, it was something wrong that I did. I did the thing wrong, and I need to try again. I need to try harder so that God will give me the revelation or whatever. Specifically what it was, there was a bunch of things. But specifically, the biggest thing was I never felt like I got revelation of the Book of Mormon. And there's this big promise that if you pray about the truth of the Book of Mormon, that God will tell you that it's true. And I never felt like I got that. Anyways, so because of kind of some of these things, I began to be very aware of my every move, I suppose, is kind of a way to put it. And I felt like I was constantly never enough for God. And so now I've kind of internalized that. And so here we are. Next question is, I asked myself, was, what are the certain instances that I feel the most shameful in right now? Obviously it was different when I was hyper-religious, but right now. So sometimes it just happens randomly. And honestly, it's kind of like one of my base emotions, which is not good, but it is one of my base emotions right now. Is sometimes I'll have like peaks and ups and downs, and I don't really know why. There's not really a reason. So that's fine. Next is when I feel like my peers don't like me. And this usually happens when I'm in a social situation and I sense that somebody is a little bit uncomfortable. That feels really, really awful for me. I am very much a person that I'm very hyper aware of people's emotions. And I was kind of trained to be that way with my religious upbringing, to like be the peacemaker and kind of look out for these problems. And so now, when somebody is uncomfortable, I'm like, it's my fault. Immediately, it's my fault. And I feel the need to fix it. I don't usually act on it. Usually, I just kind of like shut down myself and kind of go inward. And I have to remember that it's not my freaking job to control people's emotions. It's not my job to make sure that everybody is completely content. And also, a lot of times when somebody's uncomfortable in a social situation, it probably has nothing to do with me. Like, unless I said something that was completely rude, which I am scared of doing, so I feel like I don't do that often, and I'm never intentionally rude, then why is it my problem? You know, why is it my fault? Next, when I feel like I'm not doing enough, when I feel not productive enough, I feel very, very shameful, for sure. I have this, like, really strong inability to rest when I have instances that are, like, I'll be a week ahead of my homework, and I won't do homework for a day, and I'll feel, like, so incredibly guilty. You know? Like, that's not good. And then, finally, the last thing, I feel super guilty when I have to express my needs. So, like, literally the other day I was on a drive with a friend, and I was kind of talking to her just about some of my problems, which also is really hard for me to do, and she was like, is there anything I can do for you? Is basically what she said, and I was very caught off guard, because I feel like people don't ask that a lot nowadays, and I had to really take kind of a step back, and I was like, I need to think about this for a minute, because saying my needs is not something that comes naturally to me, and I feel like I'm a burden to other people when I say them. So I had to really think about it, and I was like, okay, this friend of mine who I'm close with just asked me what if I need anything, and do any things? Yes. Do I want to share them? No. But will I? Also, yes, because she is trying to be a good friend. That's another thing that I've realized lately, is kind of like hiding your life problems and not opening up to people is kind of being like a bad friend in a way. And obviously you don't need to share things with people like right away. You don't need to be like, hi, I'm Hannah, I'm depressed. You know, like, that's a little bit strange. But if it's somebody that you've been friends with and you're close with them in that way, it is the good thing to do to open up to them. You know? You know what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm putting down? Are you picking up what I'm putting down right now? Okay. So now that I just ranted about all my problems, we're going to actually try to combat some of these things and get some things in our life, maybe like a mindset switch or some strategies to make us feel less shameful. Okay? All these fears and stuff, I feel like the best way I can explain to combat something that you're scared of is with safety. Okay? So, like, for me, with when somebody is uncomfortable in a social situation thing, I can say to myself, and I've been trying to do this lately, is I am safe when somebody is uncomfortable. It is not my job to fix. Okay? And I'll literally say this to myself. Like, you can literally repeat to yourself, I'm safe right now. I'm okay. And if you're not, obviously get out of the situation. Like, if somebody's, like, crashing out at you, you don't need to stay. You know what I'm saying? So, like, balance, obviously. Okay, another thing is just grounding yourself in the moment and kind of learning how to, like, self-soothe can kind of make you feel safe. Something that I like to do, and this might, like, sound weird, but I swear it works for me, is I'll just, like, rub my arm or something, um, just kind of like gently, or like my hand, just kind of like feel around, and that helps me ground myself and kind of tells myself, I am here right now in this moment, I am fine, and I can be there for myself, kind of a thing. I don't know if that's weird, but that's something that I do. Combating like the shame when you're not doing enough, a thing that you can kind of mantra you can say to yourself is, I am worthy when I am not doing anything. I don't need to do stuff to be worthy. Maybe something that I need to do, and maybe you need to do, is schedule a self-care day. Schedule a day where you literally have nothing on your plate that you need to get done, okay? And you just wake up and you're like, what do I want to do? And you just do that. And it's not like, oh, what do I want to do? Oh, I want to do homework because I'm super anxious about it. Like, no, you can't do that. That doesn't count. It's listening to your body and being like, I want to go on a walk right now because it's going to feel good. Or, I want to call my mom right now because I want to talk to my mom. You know? Not because you feel anxious about it and you feel obligated to do it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe we all need to schedule a little self-care day. A little no responsibilities day. And so we can kind of get used to that and feel safe in that. Listening to your body is the most productive thing you can do for yourself. Let me explain that further. If you're sitting there and on your schedule at 4 o'clock, you're supposed to do your statistics homework, and you're like, I do not want to do statistics. Like, you really have no motivation for it whatsoever. There are two options. You can either, one, suck it up and frickin' do your statistics homework, or two, you can do whatever you're actually motivated to do in the moment. And yes, sometimes, like, if your homework is due that night, you probably just need to frickin' get it done. But if you're like me and you're constantly ahead on your homework because you're worried about falling behind, then you actually don't need to do homework at that moment, and you can do something that you feel motivated to do in the moment, which might be like poetry, or going on a walk, or watching a movie with your roommates, you know? And if you do choose the option of just sucking it up and doing your homework, what I find what happens with me is, like, yeah, I'll get it done, but I won't get it done fast. Like, at all. It'll take me like 6 hours to do a simple assignment because I'm like getting distracted, and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to do it. I'm like complaining, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get water, you know? Oh, I gotta doom scroll for a little bit, you know? And the second thing is I probably won't get it done nearly as well. Especially with personal projects for me. Like, if I'm trying to do poetry and I just really have no motivation to it, I'll just like stare at the ceiling for an hour. And the point is, if you listen to your body and you do what you're motivated to do, you're going to be more productive. And then, later, when you're feeling more productive to do homework, you can go back on that, and you'll get more things done, and it'll just be better for you. I guess this is kind of very specific to religion. Just saying, I don't have to prove to myself anymore, or to anybody else, my own safety is right here. It's not in some, like, futuristic heaven, okay? Because for me, when I was religious, my kind of closure is a terrible word. What word am I looking for? My kind of solace was in the idea that I was going to get to heaven one day. And now I don't believe that, and so what I've been trying to tell myself is, I can have solace right here, right now, and feel safe in my own body. I am my own solace. I am my own safety. Let's do a little exercise right now. I've been actually meaning to do this. You can write down in your journal, when I am blank, I need this. So, like, when I am sad, I need this. When I am angry, I need this. When I am anxious, I need this. And let's just clarify, what you need is not necessarily what you want, okay? If I'm feeling sad, what I want, what my natural tendency is to isolate myself and not talk to anybody and go cry alone in my room. I don't really cry that often, but that's my natural tendency. What I might need, what I feel like I need is like a hug from somebody or social support of some kind. Make sure that you write what you actually need, not just what you want to do. Alright? The example I want to give with this is when I am feeling shame, since we're talking about shame, I need this. But honestly, I need to think about it a little bit because I don't know what I need. I haven't thought about it yet. So just give me like 1 second and I'll come back, okay? Okay. I came up with 2 things that I think I need when I am feeling shame, or maybe some things I can combat my shame with. First one is having a topic that I am passionate about. And if I'm feeling like I'm a terrible person and I just can't do any good, as shame does, if I have something that I'm really excited about, it kind of like gets me rejuvenated for life, if that makes sense. Because I feel like another thing with shame is the feeling of just you're a terrible person kind of makes you less energetic for life, and you also have a feeling that life is terrible and bad and useless, you know? So if I have something that I'm super excited about that I can like talk about or express in like a creative way, that is something that I can use to combat my shame. The next thing, which is harder for me to admit, is I need contact with other people that make me feel safe. And the reason why that's hard for me to admit is because I want to isolate and I don't want to have to tell people about my problems. Okay? And that comes down to a fear of like I don't want to burden people. But if they can't support your needs, find new friends. Okay, find new people. If you're feeling like you don't want to burden people, because like I have definitely had friends that I feel like the only reason I'm in their life is so they can rant to me and talk about their problems, you know? So yeah, like there is a balance. You don't want to just be super negative around everybody all the time. Also, I feel like with the shame thing, what we're falling into is not that at all. What we're falling into is internalizing it and not reaching out at all. So reaching out a couple times isn't going to do anything. Also, if you are worried about it, you can decide what you can give yourself and what your friends can give you. Like, what can I do for myself to make me feel less shameful? So maybe for me, that's like doing something creative, and then also going and talking to a friend. And my natural tendency when I'm deciding what I can give myself is, oh, I can just do it all myself, okay? But I wrote down here, the answer to that question of what you can give to yourself is not everything. It shouldn't be everything, okay? You need people in your life in that way. Alright? Don't expect so much from yourself, basically. Alright. That is all my thoughts. Hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully, I don't know, it felt validating for you, and maybe we both can, in the future, know how to combat our religious shame a little bit more. I guess kind of just final thing, just a reminder that it takes time and we don't have to do everything all at once. We're not going to get better at this like that. We can't work on so many things all at once because humans are so complicated and be better super fast, okay? We don't have to be everything to everyone. Shame is so normal, especially if you're coming from religion like me. So just normalizing that. Being like, yeah, I was conditioned to be this way, and now, unfortunately, we have to unlearn it. Okay? And we're doing this because we want to be the authentic versions of ourselves. We want to live a life that feels fulfilling for us, okay? And it's hard to do that with shame. Anyway, my name's Hannah. I hope you guys have a great time with whatever you're going to do next. Okay? I just like to also literally sincerely thank the people. If you made it this far in the video, I just like to thank you, because this is a new channel for me. It's a new thing that I'm starting out. It's scary. I don't like being scared. So if you made it this far, truly, actually thank you. And yeah, I will see you guys with more thoughts later.